Ladies and gentlemen, every single morning, before the world touches you, before the notifications, the noise, the rush, there's a window, a brief, powerful moment where it's just you, your breath, and your thoughts. That small slice of time, often ignored, is one of the most potent forces in your life. It's a mental reset button, quietly sitting in your hands each morning. Think of it like this. When you restart your phone, it begins to operate better. Glitches disappear, the battery recalibrates, everything functions smoother. The same logic applies to your mind. Each morning is your chance to restart, not just wake up. But wake up with intention, yet most people don't. They stumble into the day, emotionally hungover from yesterday. Worries linger, regrets echo, pressure builds. They check emails, social media, or messages before even checking in with themselves. But if you pause, just for a few minutes, and choose to speak to yourself with clarity and purpose, you're not just giving yourself motivation, you're setting the operating system for your entire day. This is what makes the early hours sacred. It's not about waking up early to grind harder. It's about waking up consciously to guide yourself. Those first thoughts are the architects of your attitude, your choices, your reactions. If you start the day thinking the world is out to get you, everything will feel like resistance. But if you start the day by declaring that you have value, purpose, and power, then you create your own gravity. You become magnetic, not reactive. And here's something even more important. No one else can do this mental reset for you. You can read all the quotes, attend all the webinars, scroll through endless motivational content, but the real shift comes from the conversation you have with yourself. When you look in the mirror and say, "I am enough," that moment becomes a seed. When you whisper, "Today is mine," even if you don't fully believe it yet, it starts to take root. Doing this every morning is like brushing your soul clean. You don't wait until you're covered in stress and burnout to check in with yourself. You do it first thing, so that you can prevent the dirt from building up. That's the magic of the reset. It's proactive, not reactive, and the beauty of it is, it doesn't require any talent, no money, no status, just your presence, just your voice. It's free, but it's priceless. You can do it while brushing your teeth, while standing in the shower, or while sipping your first cup of coffee. You don't need a stage or an audience. You are both the speaker and the listener. This is especially important because the world is loud. Social media shouts what you lack. The news pushes fear. People project their insecurities onto you. If you don't control the first voice you hear in the morning, you'll be pulled into 1,000 directions by others' agendas. That's why this daily mental reset is not luxury, it's survival. You don't start your day with the chaos. You start it with clarity. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges. You will, but when your mindset is rooted in intention, you don't get thrown off course as easily. You respond instead of react. You pause instead of panic. That is the difference between drifting and directing your life. Most of us shower our bodies every morning, but we forget to rinse our thoughts. We allow yesterday's doubts to cling to us like invisible dust. The mental reset is your daily cleanse from all that didn't serve you. It's your moment to tell yourself, "That was yesterday, this is today, I begin again." And when you do this enough times, it becomes a habit. Then a rhythm, then a standard. You raise the way you show up, and slowly, the world starts to reflect that back. The mental reset isn't just about motivation, it's about intention. It's not about hyping yourself up with false promises. It's about anchoring yourself in truth. The truth that you are in control of how you begin. The truth that how you start often determines how you finish. Every morning is a fresh page. The pen is already in your hand. The question is, what will you choose to write? There's something incredibly powerful about waking up and claiming the day as your own. Not just physically rising from bed, but rising in mindset. You open your eyes, and before the world can place its weight on your shoulders, you say it. Not quietly, not passively, but with certainty. "Today is mine, and I choose how it goes." That one line is not just a feel-good statement. It's a declaration of ownership, because too often we go through our days like passengers, being pushed, pulled, and dragged by circumstance. The alarm goes off, the rush begins, and from that moment onward, we're reacting. Reacting to traffic, to emails, to people's opinions, to social media, to pressure, we let the external world dictate the tone of our internal world, and then we wonder why we feel so scattered, so drained, so disconnected. But the truth is, the moment you wake up, you're standing at a fork in the road, and one path says, "Let life happen to me," the other says, "Let me happen to life." Choosing the second path is what that line is all about. When you tell yourself, "Today is mine," you're not saying everything will go perfectly. You're saying you will stay in control, no matter what comes. You're not predicting the absence of challenges. You're promising yourself that you'll face those challenges as the author of your story, not as a victim of the plot. It's an active mindset, a deliberate choice, because the day doesn't belong to your boss. It doesn't belong to your bank account. It doesn't belong to someone who broke your heart or someone who ignored your worth. It belongs to you, and what you decide to do with it, how you think, how you act, how you show up determines whether it slips away or becomes something meaningful. Most people wait for the right day to start claiming their lives. They wait for the weekend, the promotion, the approval, the inspiration. But here's the truth that most don't realize until much later. There is no perfect day. There is only today, this moment, and you either take it, shape it, and leave it, or you let it pass like a wave you didn't bother to ride. Saying, "I choose how it goes," isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling your approach. The world might throw things at you, deadlines, disappointments, delays, but you decide if they ruin your rhythm or refine your resolve. That's the real power in that sentence. It shifts the responsibility from the outside world to the inner world, and that's where all lasting change begins. Imagine going through your day with that mindset, not just repeating the words, but believing them. Even in traffic, you remind yourself, "I choose patience." In a tough conversation, you breathe and say, "I choose grace." When self-doubt creeps in, you counter it with, "I choose progress, not perfection." And when the day tempts you to just survive, you whisper, "I choose to show up fully." That's what owning the day looks like. It's quiet strength. It's calm power. It's not always dramatic, but it's deeply effective. It's the difference between letting time slip through your fingers or shaping it like clay into something beautiful. And here's what happens when you start living this way consistently. The world begins to mirror your energy. People respond differently. Opportunities appear where there were once only obstacles. Not because everything outside has changed, but because you have. Because you're no longer just drifting. You're directing, so say it like you mean it. Today is mine. Even if yesterday was hard, even if tomorrow feels uncertain, even if nothing seems to be in your favor right now. The moment you claim the day, you change how it unfolds. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. You just need that one clear decision each morning to step into the day with authority, with presence, with intention. Because this isn't just another Monday or Tuesday or Friday. It's not just another 24 hours to get through. It's a chance to lead, to grow, to connect, to create, to become more of who you're meant to be. So take the day, own it, shape it, because if you don't choose how it goes, something or someone else will, and you've come too far to hand that power away. One of the greatest lies we've been taught is that we need more before we begin. More money, more time, more skills, more confidence, more followers, more permission. We keep waiting to feel ready, as if there's some perfect moment where all the lights turn green and the universe applauds, saying, "Now, yes, now you may begin." But that moment rarely comes. And waiting for it is how dreams quietly die. The truth is simple and powerful. You already have everything you need to start, right now, not tomorrow, not next month, not when you feel more secure or more seen. Now, you have breath in your lungs. You have a mind that can imagine, create, and choose. You have lessons from your past, stories in your heart, and a fire, however small, that refuses to die. That's more than enough. We live in a world obsessed with having more. We measure ourselves by what we lack instead of recognizing what we carry. But some of the most remarkable journeys didn't begin with abundance. They began with almost nothing, except belief. And that belief was enough to turn ideas into impact, pain into power, and quiet courage into unstoppable motion. Look around. You'll always find someone more equipped, more trained, more experienced. But you don't need to be the best to begin, you just need to begin to become better. The world doesn't need your perfection, it needs your presence, your effort, your decision to step forward even if your knees shake. Start with what you have, start with where you are, start with who you are. There is strength in simplicity. You don't need $1 million plan, you need a single step. You don't need everyone's support. You need your own. You don't need a polished stage. You need your voice, even if it trembles. You have your story, your intuition, your energy, your voice. You've got ideas that nobody else has, and perspectives that no one else sees in exactly the same way. That is your edge. That is your tool. You have all the raw material already within you. You're just waiting for permission that you were never supposed to wait for in the first place. There will always be a reason not to start. There will always be doubt, but the day you decide to begin in spite of it, everything changes. You stop asking for a sign, you become the sign. You stop looking for a path, you make one. And what's more, when you begin, no matter how small the action is, you build momentum. That first step is the hardest, but it's also the most sacred, because it tells the world, and more importantly, it tells yourself, that you believe you are worth the effort, that you are worth the risk. That your vision is worth fighting for. You might not have all the answers. That's okay. You'll find them along the way. You might not have the confidence yet. But confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It's the result of it. Every time you show up, even imperfectly, you're sending a message to your future self. I showed up when I didn't have to. I moved when I could have stayed still. I believed when no one was watching. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to fear staying stuck more than failing forward. You don't need everything figured out. You need to trust that every step forward will teach you more than any amount of waiting ever could. So stop holding your greatness hostage behind the illusion of almost ready. You're not waiting for a sign, you're waiting for courage, and courage only comes through movement. Remind yourself every morning, I have everything I need to start. Not everything I need to finish, not everything I need to be perfect, just enough to start. That's all it takes. The rest will meet you on the journey. The tools you need aren't out there somewhere, they're already inside you. And the longer you doubt them, the longer the world waits for what only you can give. So start now, start small, but just start, because once you do, you'll realize you were never missing anything, you were only waiting to remember your own power. And that remembering, that's the beginning of everything. There comes a point when you realize that chasing things doesn't bring them closer. It only makes you more tired, more desperate, more disconnected from yourself. We spend so much time running after success, validation, love, recognition. We stretch ourselves thin trying to be noticed, trying to prove we're enough, trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for us. And in the process, we forget something powerful. We were never meant to chase, we were meant to attract. When you say, I will not chase, I will attract, you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. You're no longer begging life to treat you well. You're becoming the kind of person life naturally rewards. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about doing the inner work so that what you desire flows to you, not away from you. There's a certain energy in chasing, an energy of lack. When you chase, you send a signal that what you want is far away, that you don't yet have it, that you're not enough without it. And the universe, life, people, they respond to that signal. The more you chase, the more things run. It's a cycle of burnout and disappointment. But when you flip that energy, when you decide to become instead of pursue, everything shifts. You stop trying to impress and start focusing on becoming impressive to yourself. You stop needing someone to validate your worth, and you begin to live in a way that reflects your own value. You stop waiting for opportunities and begin preparing for them, and slowly, quietly, things begin to find you. The people who once overlooked you, they notice your glow. The chances you thought were out of reach, they start appearing, not because you're shouting for attention, but because you've built a presence that speaks for itself. When you're grounded in who you are and you trust what you bring to the table, you no longer feel the need to chase what isn't meant for you. You understand that if it's truly aligned with your energy, it will find its way. This mindset doesn't mean you sit still and expect miracles. It means you take action from a place of confidence, not desperation. You prepare, you show up, you grow, you evolve, but you don't beg, you don't shrink. You don't hustle for crumbs of approval. There is dignity in attraction. It's the silent power of someone who knows what they're worth and refuses to settle for less. It's the calm certainty of someone who knows their value doesn't increase or decrease based on external opinions. It's the grace of someone who knows that the right things will never need to be forced, and the wrong things will never stay, no matter how hard you chase them. Every morning when you remind yourself, I will not chase, I will attract, you're making a promise to protect your energy. You're choosing to move from self-awareness, not fear. You're choosing to live in flow, not force. You're choosing to trust timing rather than manipulate it. And the most beautiful part, attraction isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming someone who naturally draws in what aligns. It's about becoming so full within yourself that you stop searching for pieces in other people. It's about realizing that your worth is not a question, it's a fact. And when you carry yourself with that quiet certainty, the world adjusts. You attract better relationships because you no longer entertain chaos. You attract better opportunities because you're too focused to be distracted by noise. You attract peace because you've stopped chasing validation in places that can't give it to you. So every morning, don't start your day by wondering who will notice you or what you have to do to be enough. Start your day by anchoring into this truth: you are enough, you are whole, you are already worthy, and from that place allow what is meant for you to find its way, not because you chased it down, but because you became the kind of person it couldn't miss. That's the real power, that's real magnetism, that's when life stops being a race and starts becoming a rhythm, one that moves to your beat, not someone else's, and it all begins with the decision to stop chasing and start becoming. There's something deeply liberating about realizing that your story is not trapped in the chapters you've already lived. The past, no matter how heavy, messy, or painful, doesn't get to define you unless you keep rereading it. And yet, so many of us carry the weight of who we were like it's tattooed on our skin. Mistakes we made, opportunities we missed, versions of ourselves we're no longer proud of. We hold on to shame like it's a scar that cannot fade. But what if every morning you reminded yourself of this truth: I am not my past, I am my next decision? That sentence is more than just a line, it's a shift in identity, because if you believe you are your past, you live in patterns. You repeat cycles, you feel stuck, limited by things you can't undo. But the moment you realize you are your next decision, everything opens up. Suddenly, your power is not in what happened to you, it's in what you choose now. And now again, your past might explain you, but it does not excuse you from your potential. It doesn't get the final word. It can be a teacher, but it should never be a jailer. Whether you failed, hurt someone, lost time, broke down, walked away, gave up too soon, or stayed too long, it does not own you anymore. The past is a place of reference, not residence. This mindset requires courage because it means you stop hiding behind the story. It means you stop saying, that's just the way I am, or I've always been like this, or they'll never see me differently. Those are the phrases of someone who believes their past is their identity. But when you say, I am my next decision, you're choosing the future over the former. You're saying, I get to decide who I become next. And that's where all your strength lies. It doesn't matter if yesterday was full of fear. Today you can choose boldness. It doesn't matter if you were unkind last week. Today you can choose grace. It doesn't matter if you've been inconsistent for months. Today you can choose discipline. This is how people change, not through magic, but through decisions made one at a time, over and over, until the new story is stronger than the old one. And let's be honest, some people will try to define you by your past, because it's easier for them to hold on to who you were than accept who you're becoming. Let them. You're not responsible for their outdated narrative. You're only responsible for the choices you make today. Your growth will speak for itself. Think of the people who turned their lives around, not because the world suddenly gave them a break, but because they looked in the mirror one day and decided, enough. It starts now. That's the decision that rewrites the whole script. It's quiet, but it's revolutionary, and you don't need anyone's permission to make it. Even if you've been carrying guilt, regret, or disappointment for years, your next decision can be a door. A door to something cleaner, stronger, more honest. You can walk through it at any time. The key has always been in your hands, so each morning, look yourself in the eye and remember, you are not your worst moment. You are not your biggest mistake. You are not your trauma, your scars, or your failures. You are the person who gets to choose what happens next. You are the author, not the footnote. You are the next sentence, not the last one. When you live like that, life doesn't feel like a punishment. It feels like a canvas. You don't waste time asking why things happened the way they did. You spend your energy on what you're going to do about it now. So start now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. One decision, one step. That's all it takes to begin again and again and again if you have to, because you are not your past. You are your next decision. And that means you're free. There is no greater thief of peace than comparison, and it often starts early in the morning. Before your feet even touch the ground, your mind starts whispering, you should be further by now. You're behind. Look at them. Look at their progress, their success, their life. It's a quiet voice, but it's relentless. It convinces you that you're late to your own life, like you've missed some train you didn't even know you were supposed to catch. But here's the truth that breaks that cycle. You are not behind. You are on your own timeline. We forget this because we live in a world obsessed with speed and milestones. Society sells us a blueprint. Graduate by this age, have a career by that age, find love, get married, buy a house, raise kids, retire. And if we fall out of sync with that artificial script, we begin to feel lost. We think something's wrong with us, but what if nothing is wrong? What if your journey was never meant to look like anyone else's? Every person you compare yourself to is living a life shaped by a different past, different lessons, different pain, and different timing. You can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You can't measure your worth by someone else's highlight reel. And yet, we do it all the time. We scroll, we judge, and we shrink. We tell ourselves we're falling behind, when in reality, we're just following a different path. There is no universal clock ticking against you, no divine scoreboard keeping points on who got what first. Life is not a race, it's a rhythm, and the more you try to rush it, the more out of tune you become with your own soul. You're not late, you're not slow, you're becoming, at your pace in your way, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Some people find their passion at 16, some at 60. Some people fall in love young, some not for decades. Some start over 5 times before they find what sticks, and none of that makes them failures. It makes them human. When you wake up and remind yourself, I am not behind, I am on my own timeline, you take your power back from the invisible pressure that's been suffocating you. You stop looking sideways and start looking inward. You begin asking better questions. Am I growing? Am I learning? Am I moving in a direction that feels true to me? That's what matters, not what someone else is doing, not what the world expects, but what you're building step by step in your own time. Growth doesn't always look like forward motion. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like healing, like unlearning. Like rest, like grief, like quiet transformation behind closed doors. Just because you can't see the results yet doesn't mean you're not making progress. A seed grows in darkness before it ever reaches the light. So give yourself grace. Let go of the pressure to catch up, as if life were a game with a scoreboard. There's nothing noble about burning yourself out just to arrive somewhere faster. There's nothing inspiring about chasing someone else's dream and losing yourself in the process. The most powerful thing you can do is own your timing, respect it, trust it, protect it. Some people will not understand that. They'll question why you're not there yet. Wherever there is, let them wonder. You don't owe anyone a timeline. You owe yourself peace. And peace comes when you finally stop measuring your life by borrowed expectations and start living by your own truth. Every day you wake up, you have a choice to panic over what hasn't happened yet or to be present with what is happening. Right now, here, because this moment, even if it's messy or slow or uncertain, is part of your becoming. So take a deep breath, let go of the race, let go of the invisible clock. You're not behind, You're exactly where you need to be to learn what you need to learn, to grow how you need to grow, to become who you're meant to become. No one gets to rush your process, not even you. So walk your path, stay in your lane, build quietly, grow deeply. You are not behind. You are on your own timeline, and it's unfolding right on time. Thanks for watching.